with the tarantulas.
Oh my god. Got him.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Holy!
Here we go again. All right, Tom Moran from Tom's Big Spiders here, about to do an balfouri update on my communal. Before I do, I just wanted to mention a couple things. I know people are really eager to see these updates, and I get a lot of requests for it because I think it's probably the most popular thing on my channel as far as videos are concerned. However, please keep in mind that if I don't post something, it means there's nothing going on at the moment. I'm tempted every once in a while to just throw up a video of dirt if I didn't think I'd get a million thumbs downs for it. They're not always out and about, and I don't always catch things. Now this time I actually did catch a couple things, some really cool things, so hence we have a video. Another thing is, I know a lot of people are just joining this series that I actually started in June of last year when I got these guys as slings, and many don't realize that most species of tarantulas cannot be kept communally. So please, if you're interested in having a communal with tarantulas, make sure you do some research. M. balfouri happen to be probably the best species as far as being kept communally. They actually seem to thrive in those situations. There are other species that will tolerate being kept together, but don't necessarily do as well. And in many of those instances, you kind of have to cram them together and limit the space to make sure that they don't stake out their own territory and begin to fight and eat each other. Unfortunately, I've had people asking me whether they can keep euathlus species. I had somebody ask if they could create a communal with Brachypelma hammeri, which that would just lead you to probably having a couple very fat spiders. So please, if it's something you're interested in, feel free to comment, shoot me an email. I'll be happy to explain the species that it works with and some of the ones it definitely won't. But do understand that these guys are kind of an abnormality. They're not behind me. I'm not in my transfer room. I don't know what I'm pointing to here. But they're kind of abnormal in a sense that they do seem to get along very, very well. That said, we have some footage today that shows what happens when they have a little spat over some food. So I'm going to stop talking for now, and we're going to get on to the video. All right, so this here was about 5 minutes after we fed them. Usually when I feed these guys, I take the whole enclosure out, put it on our dinner table, and then I open up, clean out the boluses, add some water, clean the water if need be, and drop in anywhere from 15 to 20 crickets. There are 9 M. balfouri in this communal right now, and they're getting quite large, so we try to give them a couple extra, so if they want to eat 1 or 2, and it's probably a good thing that I have been, because as you could see with the one before, it had 2 in its mouth. Now this one here has detected the cricket over in the corner. Keep an eye on this guy throughout the video because this one has a very interesting interaction later on, but unfortunately sometimes I just have to stand here with the camera in the room waiting for something to happen. Sometimes it does, and sometimes, like in last time I fed them, there really wasn't much going on. So they've been doing really, really well. They're eating like pigs. They've all molted lately, as evidenced by the fact that they're quite skinny in the abdomen area. So there, again, the one thing that has amazed me about this communal is the growth rate. I grew up 3 M. balfouri from about 1.25 inches slings years ago to adults, and in the time it has taken these guys to reach an adulthood, almost adulthood, those other guys were still only juveniles. They took forever to grow. But it seems like when kept together, they do actually do much, much better. I mean, look at these. They look like little balfouri adults there. There's going to be a little surprise at the end of this video, something I discovered the other day, but we'll get to that in a minute. And as you can see, when they eat, they're fairly calm. They just kind of sit there, stake out their own little area and eat, unless one of them decides to go wandering around. And we'll see in a moment. When Billy came into the room to join me to watch this, we caught some behavior I haven't caught in quite some time. Alright, so this is just a couple minutes later. I told Billy that they were eating, so we came back into the room. And again, I'm going to go ahead and delete the original sound on this one only because we got pretty excited in a moment. But you can see here the one just kind of sitting by itself eating. I do have a few brave ones that seem to have no problem sitting outside the caves and the burrows to eat. Sometimes they just sit there, no problem, and even if I jounce the enclosure, they won't move at all. Other times, if I go to bump the enclosure or something, or if I reach in, they'll disappear. But this is the one I wanted to keep an eye on earlier. I was waiting to see if it was going to grab the cricket, so I was really excited because that one started creeping up behind it, and there we go. And I was so excited to get this one here because I don't catch a lot of shots of them actually hunting and getting the prey. It's tough to time it sometimes unless you just hang out there with the camera. So you can see, got it really good here. Now something interesting is going to happen. It goes to try that burrow entrance there, decides that it's going to try it again, and I don't know, there was probably another one in there. I've seen that happen before. And so what it's going to do here in a minute is climb up to try another burrow entrance. And that's when things get really, really interesting. Of course, it's going to make me a liar by going into that one again. I'm guessing there was another one already in it, but watch what happens when it goes up to the second entrance. There is one behind it up here. Bam! And I won't mind saying this is one of the spots where I swore because I hadn't seen anything like that in quite some time. When there were slings, I saw two of them fighting over one of the crickets once, but it ended with them pretty much ripping the cricket apart, and that was it. If you can't really see real well there, but what happened is the one that landed on top ended up grabbing the cricket away from the other one. So last week we had some of them getting along and kind of canoodling. This week we have them kind of going after each other's food, which is a little bit different behavior than we've seen before. And you see this one here kind of does the same thing. Hey, what do you got? And manages to grab up the second cricket that the other one dropped. So I've heard tell that sometimes they will kill prey and leave it for the other ones. In this case, they're actually stealing prey from each other, which I found fascinating. So what needs to be mentioned, though, is that although that looks scary, and I'll tell you, both Billy and I were freaked out. You can hear in the beginning, that's most of the original audio from it, and you can hear Billy gasp, and I might have ended that phrase with an expletive. It was shocking, but nobody got hurt, and that's one thing that needs to be mentioned, where if this were a species that wasn't communal, that very easily could have been a spider becoming the meal as opposed to just having a cricket snatched away. So I have noticed that even when there are little minor spats, they seem to be okay with each other afterwards, which is great. So again, just something really interesting, especially compared to last week where it was all kind of cute and cuddly. This week we get to see them show a little bit of tension. There was a little bit of what's the word there, friction between two of the communal mates, which again is something I don't see very often, and don't mind if I don't see too often, quite frankly. All right, a quick update on the balfouri Communal. As you can see, I have my first mature male. You can see the bright blue carapace, the blue legs. They obviously look different than the females. The one in back looks more like a female. And as he kind of ducks away, this one's a bit bittersweet for me because I honestly thought I was going to have these guys a lot longer before they started maturing. So it's kind of cool that he's matured in my care after, starting off as a 3/4 inch sling. But now comes time to decide whether or not to pluck the males out, because I have heard that the males with their energy and constant, drive to breed can kind of upset the energy of a communal. So we'll see how it goes. But I do have a large adult female that I plan on breeding. And so I'm thinking I'm probably going to plug him out as I take him out as I zoom in a little bit to breed to her. So we'll see how it goes. They seem to be one of the species that don't munch the males as much when breeding. So hopefully he'll survive intact, and then maybe we'll drop him back in. We'll see how it goes. But there he is, first mature male. The guys are all grown up. It's kind of sad, but kind of cool.